government needs to be accountable to the people.
I said there are 3 people running for county supervisor in District 1 alone. I said, when are we going to have a debate here with that? And she called Kevin Jeffries. Kevin Jeffries turned her down.
Thank you.
So we're not going to be vetted anywhere. We are not going to be having the Friday Morning Club to speak through or at. And there are no stories running on the topic of the county supervisor in District 1. We went to UCR this morning with a banner, and only 2 people out of everybody we spoke with are voting. That's the next generation. Why aren't they voting? Because they feel no pressure, no motivation evidently to do so. You can't say that they lack information of academic sort. But when I went to Johns Hopkins in my younger days, when an election came up, we were right there.
Once again, I am your host, Willie Wildcat. We are standing here with an electoral candidate. Her name is Britt Holmstrom. Once again, that name is Britt Holmstrom. Ms. Holmstrom, would you please tell the people what you're running for and why?
The position I'm running for is Riverside County Supervisor District 1, from Wildomar up through Riverside in the north, and in the west, Lake Elsinore, over to the 215 highway. And why am I running for that? Well, because I found that there was disrespect for the taxpayers and the citizens here, effusive disrespect, and also not much truth was spoken there.
What do you believe that you can change inside of our community? Because I live in Riverside County. Yes. I'm a part of Riverside County. I live in San Jacinto by Mount San Jacinto College. What's up, Eagles? Yeah. So what do you believe that you can change, and how can you make it better if you're elected?
Well, first of all, I was a member of student government on every level of education that I was, so I treasure that. So since we're talking about your campus and many campuses here, I'm pushing for and advocating that students get active very young, and even before college. They should be introduced to city councils and county councils, educational department committees. You have to introduce them young to respect the process of making choices. I also would like to say that I've been a faculty member all the way up to professor level. What I've noticed, just like in the corporate world, and universities are corporate money-making entities that do not pay any taxes at all.
Wow.
No taxes. You and I pay them, they don't. So I would like all the professors, if you're listening out there, do not concentrate so much on yourself. You have a job to do, and that is to interest the students in a lifetime learning and building of skills, because they got to grow the rest of the generations when you and I are gone.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Holmstrom. We appreciate you once again for featuring at the Willie Wildcat Show. We do thank all our guests that came out.
Go to the Democratic Club, which they don't have access or can't find, because we wanted also to utilize them as a place where we can go and talk about the recall and the Democratic election coming up. It is the hardest year that I've ever had to deal with them. I've had no problems with them in the past, but they are not really interested in politics anymore.
Who is that?
UCR.
Oh, really?
It's the last 2 years, maybe I should even say 3 years. It is though they're just packing it in and taking it. And you wouldn't think they would because of the fact of tuition. The maybe mom and pop is paying too much of the tuition.
Right.
So I don't know.
The people are part of this Constitution, and this part of the Constitution is being abused, and I hope that we will all take interest in the Constitution to understand what our rights are and what have been taken away in the past.
It's really, I don't know that I would have celebrated it
as much as some of my colleagues did, because it's really a mixed blessing to acknowledge that you are now the 10th largest, most populated county in the state of California, because that means we have more of us.
This is owned by the March Joint Powers, all of this.
March Joint Powers.
Which took over.
Does that mean the Army, Navy, Sea?
Yes. When they downsized
Air
the
Force.
March Air Force Base, the politicians got together and formed a representative group called March Joint Powers, who was supposed to divvy up everything March Air Force Base owned in its name. A lot between here and Van Buren, that's owned by March Joint Powers. And they're the ones that sold off Ben Clark, the training ground right here. Much to our disgust. See that? Ben Clark training ground. Now, with all the detonation, with all the bombs going off here, vibrating the entire Mead Valley, people could not keep their horses here because they would jump over the fences and get killed on the road.
Wow!
Yeah, it's getting announced. But they also get all the detonations, like boom, boom, boom. And they get all the rifle shots here. From,
And so the county allowed houses to be built
yeah.
right next to
Well, not the
open
county.
burning and
No,
detonation
not
sounds.
Not the county. The county's on that side of this street. The city, Ward 4, is on the left side of this street.
Oh,
This is Paul Davis, who's now running for mayor, who is the city councilman from over there.
that's terrible. You never should have permitted this.
And this used to be the continuation of Les Orange Orchards. They only own from here to there now.
And we could have had more native grown orange
Oh,
juice.
yeah, absolutely.
Instead, they planted people with whom we cannot support agriculturally. This is Dicker Road. Is it scheduled for a warehouse?
Well, I'm going to show you right at the end of the street is one that's a distribution house. This whole area, including where those houses are, they're going to go all the way over to the original farm, are going to be distribution houses, and that's illegal because this is a residential area. The area where they allowed to put distribution houses is way down there by Harville. But they should stop there. They should not go up this hill. This is a piece of ground that has history. Several Indian tribes have used this in the bygone years. They have done their collecting of food between Ben Clark and National Cemetery, close to Van Buren, and hauled it up here. So they have processed the food here, and they've stored it until next time, seasonal trek that they make up here, that they can use it. And these are tribes that walk around and walk around. And it's also evidence that they existed because there is a museum of the wind over at Lake Paris that testifies to this rich history. Okay, and at the Gavin Hills, these same Indians were walking around. So anyway, we were told by Trumbull Crow, the developer for the supposed distribution houses here, and the county, that this area does not have any view. Do you see the view here? On a clear day, we can see all the way over to Beaumont Banning. I think this should be treasured. These stones that you have here in front of us that we see, I think they're like monuments to me. They record the history of these rolling all the way down from Canada to us here. And they need to be treasured as relics of past history. So I will be fighting any distribution house that's going to be proposed here, I want this as a park. We were promised a park when the houses came up around the schools up on Clark. We never got the park. Well, this is the park that we want, and I think this is the park that we deserve, and this would be the only park in Mead Valley. So,
And you want to keep it a nature
We want-
preserve park,
absolutely, we want to
not
keep
green carpet,
it. No,
concrete trails, and
whatever naturally wants to
basketball
grow.
courts and that. Not that.
That's right. We want whatever naturally wants to grow here and has grown and still is able to make a living here.
And perhaps a trail on the outside of it.
But yes, a trail on the outside. And this should be for all generations and all cultures through time. So I will not, whether I win or not, I will absolutely be fighting for this as a park for Mead Valley.
And perhaps some grand oak trees,
Yes, yes, yes.
native species trees.
And obviously, the people behind me have treasured this too, because look, they're decorating it with some of their flowers. You can see some of the flowers behind you too in their yard.
And they don't water these, so they don't mind the drought.
Right. Drought resistant.
There are a few scattered farmhouses here.
Right. Now, when the distribution developers come in, the rest of Mead Valley, do not get notified. Only the people right behind me got notified. Only 600 feet from the proposed distribution site. Those owners get notified and none of the rest of us. So the rest of the Mead Valley did not know that all of this distribution devastation was going
And they
to go.
won't know unless you produce a brochure and take it door to door.
That's right, that's right. I went door to door talking, and I think Peggy went to some of the residences too. And the youth come up here. This is not a high traffic area, so the youth are not going to be killed on the road. Not the great likelihood that they will.